to remember where I'm at. Yeah, actually, I had something. I had something a lot better in mind, but it costs too much. But when I do end up getting it, it's gonna be it's gonna be pretty it's gonna be pretty good. It required me to 3D print it because there's not any there's not any like good ones out there just to just buy. So you have to 3D print it and make it actually look nice. Hello. Okay, I gotta figure out what I'm doing. Okay, this is right. Okay. Alright, I remember what I was doing. Yep, 30 years old. 30. That's okay. I don't remember what I'm doing. Oh, okay. It might work. I mean, it's about as big as like a human head. So, I don't know if I can. I don't know how much material it would take to actually print that off. Crap. I don't know where to go. Oh wait. I'm trying to remember what happened last. I've been over that way. Okay, I think I have. So, I think I'm. I had to look up what I did last. I don't know. I don't know. There's a guy here named Gaius that I'm about to fight, so. So I go up here to this. So this is the highest I can get right now. So, but there's an item I have. Let me heal real quick. Alright, so there's an item I have, the silver horn. Okay, there you go. So now I'm... Okay, here it is.
I think we found Gaius, or at least his body. That's strange. He looks like he's in some kind of trance.
Be wary, he might be thinking.
Yeah, but if he's not, this is as good a time as any to put an end to his threat.
You should have moved quicker, children. I'm at my most vulnerable when I communicate with Master Nat and his mana. I trust you have the jewels of doom in your possession?
What is it with you and your obsession for the jewels?
You mean you don't know? Well, in that case, I'll have to take care of you before you find out.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna attack the sleeping one first. Crap. Oh, I see. I can't even hit him. Can I put him to sleep? Yeah, which was weird. He healed him, which is weird because, like, he shouldn't be able to, because he's an apparition. He shouldn't even be able to hurt me, honestly. Okay, let me try something. Yeah, see, Gaius Mage keeps... Ooh, I have an idea. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We need to find the calm attack. There it is. Okay. How do we put him back to sleep? Sleep? Do I have sleep anywhere? Oh, I can't cast magic. I forgot. Hold on. Here we go. I have sleep mist, though. It's useless. Never mind. Yeah, but I can't use it now because I used calm. So here's what's gonna. We're just gonna have to use. Okay, I think I have a better strategy. I think this time. So if I go up here. I just use the silver horn. I'll go up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use calm immediately. Well, actually, I'm going to use power 4,
We found Gaius,
and
or
I'm going
at
to
least his
use
body. That's strange.
so power 4, haste 3, calm
He might be faking.
to silence everyone, and I'm going to kill Gaius.
This is as good a time as any to put an end to his threat.
You should have
Not what you want to use.
children. I'm at my most vulnerable when I communicate with Master Nathan. It's Nana. I trust you have the jewels of doom in your possession.
What is it with you and your obsession for the jewels?
You mean you don't know?
I can cast mute
Well, in that
instead.
case, I'll have to take care of you before you find out.
Let me try to cast mute on the apparition. Mute 3. It says useless. Oh, God. Okay. What about mute on him? Ooh. Oh, and he woke up though. Oh God, he woke up though. Yeah, he just keeps recovering his health by hitting me. Yeah, this isn't gonna work so well. Do I not have sleep anywhere? Nobody has sleep. And if I used a sleep mist, that doesn't work, I guess. Yeah. See, I do almost no damage. Okay, let me try something. Hold on. Let me just try one thing. See, you can only cast Reflect on yourself, though. Okay. Yeah, it still recovers too much. And the Reflect didn't do anything. Wow. Yeah, shock does a little bit. Flame 4 does same. Wow. 1 HP. Ethan hits for 1 HP. Okay. So mute 3 works. Slow works. What else do we have? We could slow him again. Venom does not work. So I guess I need to start just using magic because this isn't working. Man, if he were asleep, I could freaking... The problem is, as soon as I mute him, he wakes up. Which is really stupid. Okay. Ooh. I just realized something. Alright, I got a strategy. Oh my god. It's working. Dang it, I keep missing him. He has 54 health. That was a funny strategy. Yeah.
Not possible! Geist magnificent! Besten
CG. So, so Giles already has a. He has a. What did I give him? I forgot what it's called. Like a speed ring. So he's already faster, and he has the strongest natural like strength. And so all I did was use Ethan and Sonya to speed him up and increase his attack power over and over and over again. And eventually I was hitting him for like 500 each hit. That was funny. That was good stuff. 50,000 gold. Oh, chapter 5's over. Finale. Dragonfire. Chapter's called Dragonfire. Heck yeah. Isra Nasa, okay. He's real, though panic and riot in the streets. I didn't tell anyone else because I want to take him out. But I need money, and the easiest way to get it is to steal. Now, I love being a thief. It's real exciting, but that darn Colin is too prim and proper. He didn't want to help out here, so he just left up and left. The sword blaze. The Jagri or Jagri pit that's in Mortavia's prison outlands. Out of Port Moore. I sent Rocco on ahead. Okay. Kortov's army post. So, Port Moore. Where am I going to Fort Wynn then? Okay, well. Let's just teleport to. Okay, there's Wind Tower. Port Moore? Is that where I'm going? There it is. All right, here we go. I'm trying to be as loud as I can, but the baby's asleep. That's usually when I take my time on Sundays to stream. Daggone, how far is this place? Jeez. Have today's prisoners come through yet? No, not yet. Wait, here comes someone now. His name is Slime Bag. What the? Warpwing battle suit, 300,000. 300,000 for a battle suit. 200,000 for a Jade Shield and 300,000 for a Star Blade. You freaking crazy. I still want to sell something. Dang it. Holy crap. Never mind, I have enough. That gold sword is 220,000 to sell. Wow. Now I got 500,000 gold. Holy crap. Oh, actually, let me try something. Oops. Okay, never mind. Well, dang. Okay. So it's percentage based, so now he wants more money. Okay. Give me a second then. Let me save here. Save state 1. Alright, let's buy. Let's buy some stuff then. If he's going to take a good portion of my money anyway, then. So why don't we buy a So do a Starblade, I guess. Let's see what equip Logan. So 638. Yeah, 778. Would you look at that? Actually, let's see. Hold on, go back. Gem Blade. These cats are insane. What else is here? Alright, let's just go ahead and pay him then. Yeah, 79,000. Isn't that stupid? There's no monsters? Where am I going? Oh, there's Doomkeep, okay. What's going on? No one enters the room without Ben's permission. Huh. Well, okay. I don't know what I'm doing now. There's no monsters here, though. I don't know why. Oh, I also noticed something on my last YouTube video. My voice is apparently really low, and I don't know why. So, okay, I'm maxing out my voice. And I'm going to go ahead and turn up my desktop audio as well. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Oh. Oh, there's a cave. There's a cave. How do I get there? Through here? I use the freaking cave. Oh. Oh gosh. Alright. There's one. So if I go up, I can go left, or I can go, so there's left immediately, and then you come back out and there's right. Okay, let me just bring this up. Ooh, there's a star blade. Battle suit. All right. Jade shield. it's a freaking. Have you watched the Jubilee video, the Alex O'Connor, where he debates 20 Christians? Oh yeah, they get into evidential problem of evil, evidence of resurrection, Christology. I haven't watched it yet. No, I've watched a few of the Jubilee stuff. I've watched one with, I don't know. There's a lot like Destiny and Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, and 2 or 3 others, something like that. But I haven't watched his. Well, I don't see anything here. Can I tell? I guess I can't warp out of here, huh? Oh well. Or some highlights of the Jubilee video. Fort Wind? Is that where I need to go? Yes. Fort Wind. Then I need, so... Okay. So I guess I'm going back to Doomkeep now. Timothon, we're on. They're solid apologists, and Tim did a really good job giving Swinburne, Hick, Adams, Doherty at the Odyssey. Okay, awesome. There's a Mormon guy on there too. Huh. So I guess I'll just talk to everybody here or something. Oh. Daggone. I talked to everybody. They did say there's something. Okay, so I guess I'm going back there. I wish they just got more philosophically inclined or theologically literate Christians to debate Alex. Yeah, main problem with their setup. For instance, Alex was throwing out the typical very basic, oh yeah, double argument. Yep, against Jesus' divinity, time and hour, one true God, on Paul, etc. Yeah. I don't even see a way to teleport there. It's the Jaggery pit, right? Here, nice Chin Tower. There it is, jeez. Yeah, it's still there. I don't know. I don't. Okay. So. It's getting cold down here. Oh. I guess I didn't talk to a person. If they got William Lane Craig on there or Rogan, I'd be content. Yeah. Be great. Yeah. I mean, I'd go on there. One thing I've noticed is, so, of course, if you're in like a Clubhouse or Jubilee or Discord type setting, if someone says something to you and you kind of don't know what to say back, they take that as a win. But I mean, there's two ways you can shock someone into silence. You can either say something that's so genius that it just shocks them and they don't know what to say because it's so elaborate and wonderful, or what you're saying is so stupid, ludicrous, absurd, off the wall, left field that they don't know what to say to it because it's extremely hard to respond to absurdity. Very, very difficult. Usually, at least at first, at most, you can really just kind of give an incredulous stare. I think it was Russell that said that. I don't know how to refute an incredulous stare. Well, okay, I mean, right, that's fine. But if you're getting multiple incredulous stares, you can just start asking some more questions. Like, is what I'm saying ridiculous? Like if I were the person up there in the Jubilee video, like getting asked all these, or having all these points thrown at me from people, for 20 different people, and if they're just all absurd points, I'm just gonna be like, where in the world did you get that idea? I'm just gonna have to start asking them questions. Like, if they're saying, hey, I think there is such a modality as brute necessity, right? Everything just is for no reason. There is no reason, just because. Like, what are you supposed to say to that? Now, I actually know what to say to that because I've heard it enough times. But stuff that's crazy, that crazy. Like, what are you supposed to say, right? So, like, I mean, the way you combat absurdity is you ask them to explain themselves, and they usually can't. So it's not giving a response as much, or a positive response, as it's literally just asking questions, like a Greg Kokel type thing. He's right when he says you need to ask questions of people. So, I don't know. I mean, if I were on there, if I was actually one of the people asking the questions, I would immediately focus on moral authority. Immediately. Like, that's the first place I would go. Say, okay, let's take the moral argument. So, do you accept the second premise that objective moral values and duties exist? And then so we'd start there. And if he says no, I'll say, okay, well, then here's what you're actually saying. So we can get past all of the academic ease talk. Right? What you're saying is that people don't have any value. People are intrinsically and objectively worthless. Right? People have no value at all other than instrumental, right? Or extrinsic, which is that, in other words, if nobody cared about them, including themselves, they would literally be worthless. And I start giving examples like, you know, the ancient Greek and Roman practice of exposure, right? Where they'd have a kid and then they would, if you didn't want him, you'd go leave him in the forest or something and nobody cared about him. So guess what? They're worthless, literally. And so, I mean, I would see what he would say to that. But if he agreed, said, hey, objective moral values and duties do exist. Okay, I'm like, okay, great. So let's start with an explanation of, like, say, one of the five data points we have, at least, you know, datums of moral experience. Let's start with obligation. All right, so where's the authority behind moral obligations come from exactly? Because they're not just facts. Normative facts aren't just facts. They're facts with a normative element. And what we're asking for an explanation of is the normative element behind the fact. Right? It's part of what makes it a fact. Right? So, and part of that's got to be an appeal to a moral authority. And so you're going to have to explain where exactly that comes from. So things like that. Like I would be focusing on the moral philosophy because that's my area. So, yeah. Yeah, that's why you got to be like Billy Craig. Yeah, literally prepare it for every single possible. It's, you know, and he said that too. He's like, man, I tried doing that, and it's just it's so impossible to prepare for the insane, like, ludicrous responses that people have. And he's right. Like, you know, like I would read, so for example, on psychopathy and moral agency, like those two areas combined, I read virtually everything there was, everything I could get my hands on. And then I go into Clubhouse and people are making points that no scholar in their right mind would ever make. Right? I'm just like, oh, like some people think like believing in blobjectivism and the dumbest stuff you could think of. I'm just like, oh my gosh, these people are out. And so, like, originally, I didn't have any desire to engage with such people. Like, sorry, you are wasting my time. Like, you're just wasting time. You're slowing down progress. I really do not want to, like, engage with you. Right? And, I mean, but then I'm thinking, you know, you kind of have to, though, if you actually care about people, you have to engage with them. So, anyway, I originally thought it was Lewis, but it turned out it was realism. Unironically, incredulous stare can be a non-verbal form expressing a Morian reply. Yeah, that's true. It is a piece of evidence. It is. It's similar, you know, to, yeah, right. So in intuitionism, right? Like, so one way to test intuitions is to seriously just gauge the intuitions against everybody else. If you have an intuition and everybody else thinks you're freaking nuts and has the opposite intuition, well, that's some evidence that your intuition may be false. So, Alex is a non-cognitivist, so he'd probably grant that. He's a non-cognitivist. Oh, God. So he's a dinosaur. So, I mean, you know, Moreland was right, and I don't even know if he realizes how right he is when it comes to scientism. Scientism really just kind of screwed everything up. From scientism, you get like logical positivism, and from logical positivism is actually where non-cognitivism came out of. Right? Like, logical positivism and non-cognitivism go hand in hand. Right? And so, like, usually the reason you're going to be a non-cognitivist is because you're a logical positivist of some sort. Right? And even if you're not, that's historically that's going to end up where it came from. So it's just non-cognitivism. Like, oh, jeez. Yeah. If he wants to be in the extreme minority, he can do that, right? But it is pretty comforting that most scholars are at least claim to be realists. And I question that sometimes. I think that a number of scholars aren't realists. But they are positively oriented toward realism. And what I mean by that is, you have a number of scholars who are they accept that they accept cognitivism, and they say, oh, also. There are some moral facts, objectively, right? Stands independent moral facts. Okay, that's not enough. That's not enough to be a realist, sorry. And it never has been. Right? That's not enough to be a realist in almost any area. Like with abstract objects, it's not with other people, it's not with the external world, it's not that's not enough in almost any area to be a realist about almost anything. You have to also say, hey, there's an actually existing thing out there that either is identical to what we're talking about, or there's a foundation, like an existing ontological foundation out there for what we're talking about. If there's not, right, then you're not a realist. Right, so this is why I call people like Derek Parfit. He's not a realist. Sorry, he's a quietist. So like you cannot be a quietist and a realist. You just can't. It's not how that works. You can't be a quietist in any area and be a realist. Sorry, it's not how realism works in philosophy. So, yeah, moral locutions aren't alethic. Right. There's no confirmatory data to back this. Right. Yeah, they're trying to go with. Yeah, they're just trying to. I guess they're probably trying to go with some kind of parsimony. Like, yeah, it's. So when two people make two different, completely opposite moral claims, they're not really making claims. They're just see, this is the reduction basically of morality into a psychology. This is one of the ones I said was dangerous, right, to do, to reduce morality into psychology. Like, so in other words, there is no such thing. There just is no such thing as morality, right? It's like, okay, great. So if you're going to say that, then it's really weird when people say that and then make moral claims. It's just really, it's kind of weird and it's kind of not. Like solipsists do the same thing, right? They act like the external world's there, right? Solipsists do the same thing. They act like other minds are there, even though they literally don't believe they exist. Anyway, yeah, dinosaur. Yeah, I got a buddy working in logic and pure math who plays around with it. Nice. Yeah, I still have. Actually, I got a new whiteboard over there, and it's pretty large, and I do tons of logic stuff on it. I just love doing logic. I don't know, it's fun. I mean, we can literally just ask realists, hey, are your locutions psychologically and I hate saying it out loud, ethically expressive? To which they'll reply yes. Yeah, right. Yeah. 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 So for them, there's no such thing as moral propositions, right? So, or not them. I mean, non-cognitivists. There's no moral propositions, because in order to be a proposition, there has to be a lethic. It's funny because what they'll say is they're trying to explain the apparent alethicity of propositions, or of moral statements, let's say. The question is, so first of all, it is apparent, right? It's like trying to explain design, the apparent design of the universe kind of thing. But they'll admit that it's that is apparent. Oh, here we go. Finally, I got one torch left. Oh crap! That's it. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna load this up. I'm gonna load that save data back up and not use my torch. There's no point in using it. And it's one thing too, like, if you notice in moral philosophy, people tend to focus on the normative and they don't focus on value facts as much for some reason. Maybe because it's more uncomfortable to talk about people being literally worthless if you're an anti-realist. Of course, usually you'll get two responses. One is something like, well, three. One is that, okay, you know what, maybe you're right. That's not going to usually happen. Another one is, well, I do think they're worthless. That's a little surprising, but okay. So if that's what your view entails, great. That's your own problem. And the last one is something like, no, I don't think they're worthless, because then they reconceptualize what it means for something to have worth or be worthwhile or something like that. It's not necessarily instrumental, but it's subjective, right? So you'll have people saying, well, what makes a person worth anything or have, be valuable or in any way is that somebody else or themselves value them. So it's a verb and not a noun. And if that's the case, then okay, so if nobody values them, they're literally worthless, right? The answer is yes, right? If nobody values them, they're worthless. Theism would resolve that problem, by the way, ironically, because not all theisms, but like Christian theism would solve it immediately, because there's always someone who cares, right? So I thought that was funny when I thought of that the first time. I was like, if value is extrinsic, it's still solved by Christian theism. The funny thing, though, is like, and I talk about this in class, is morality really does seem like a crypto-religious enterprise. It's so similar. It has so many religious aspects to it. And in fact, it really kind of fits the definition of a religion. It's kind of surprising. There's actually a paper out there I read a while back that says something like that too. It's called Morality and Excellent Religion. I think it was... Crap, what's his name? I always forget his name. His last name starts with like Woodwedge, or I can't remember his name. It's been too long. The non-cognitive can argue that they intend them as alethic, but I won't see any reason to think that they can't be. Oh, the non-cognitive. Right. So intend them as alethic. So in other words, they're under an illusion. So it's not alethic, but they treat them that way. Right? They intend them that way. So intend, what's that mean? So they operate under the pretense that they're alethic. So they're just it's kind of a pretend. It's like a pretend game. We can grasp the relevant concepts of harm, virtue, objectivity. Yep. Are you familiar with the Schellenberger's ultimism characterization of religion? I don't think so. So far, the best in a nutshell definition of religion I've ever heard is a... Oh, dang it. It was something... Oh, the systematization of the sacred is what it is. That seems like what religion is to me. And that's actually what morality is. Like, literally, that's definitely what it is. Let's go to Doomkeep again. I need to find a place to rest in here, around here. Because I'm running out of MP. I don't want... I like teleporting places. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, can I sleep there? Dang it. I don't want to talk to that guy again. Click on it. I don't know what to do. Man, it's getting cold down here. See, I already did this. And it's not working. Taliafiero, I suck at Italian names. Me too. Also has a good account, okay? I believe he's the one who wrote the Philosophy of Religion. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I just saw 2 messages that were blank. I can't see either of them. Palman is live with Lance. Oh, Lance now blaspheming, of course. See, I've said this before. I think Lance is... he wouldn't like this, but I think Lance is just kind of a confused realist. Seriously, I really do think that he's just confused about stance independence, and that's why he says he's an anti-realist. But if he had the actual proper understanding, he would just be a realist. And he's hinted at that before, right? He's said before, you know, I might be a divine command theorist if we didn't have to worry about like stance independence. So I was like, okay, well, given your understanding of stance independence, in fact, here's the funny thing. Stance independence, even as he understands it, doesn't apply to value facts. On divine command theory, value facts are not determined by any stance at all. Period. So, I mean, even under his understanding, like, divine command theory is realist in value. And you might say constructivist in on obligation or something. So. DGH, CR channel isn't dead, weirdo. Yeah, Palma's live right now. Wow. We gotta invite him on. We gotta start inviting him on. Like, I seriously think that we could probably have him calling himself a realist within the first 30 minutes. And it's not because given it, you know, it's just, it literally, I think it really is just due to one misunderstanding. Yeah, what Damus hath Milo brought or wrought. I don't know. You know, it's funny. Just so everybody knows, Matt put Milo's article into ChatGPT, and even ChatGPT recognized that Milo was referring to human stances and not divine stances. It's funny. It was just funny when I saw that. I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta go left. It's a good thing I know exactly where I'm going. See, like, talking to him, like, I can talk to these, like, guys, and I can't get through that room. I'm just glad Milo finally came around and not trying to tell us what objective means. I know, right? Even modern meta-ethics had been around for, like, 90 to 100 years. And then Milo came along. It's funny. I guess I'm just gonna go talk to everybody. So let's go talk to everybody in Doomkeep. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. I just kind of running around. DGH in all regarding Schmid's work ethic. Like in all about it. 17 essays and one. Oh yeah, I said yeah. He's single with no kids. Yeah. 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 It's yeah. Can I rest anywhere? It's like, is there nowhere to rest? I can't rest anywhere. It freaking sucks. Palmer would just tell you your definition of more realism and is ad hoc. Yeah. I'd ask for why it's ad hoc. It's funny, like, given that this is how realism is in virtually every other discipline, right? Why is it ad hoc and just metaethics? I don't know. Hockneys doesn't agree with my definition. Well, I don't know what to do here. Alright, I'm gonna have to look it up. I've talked to absolutely everyone, and I've done there's only 3 places on this entire area. I went to all 3, I've talked to every single person. And I don't have any items that would do anything. Elixir, torch, oh, yeah, I just have that stuff. Let me sell this stuff. Okay, I'll look it up. Where am I at again? Valley. Dragonfire. Yeah, I know. Boris decides he's perfectly happy being in prison and decides to return to Doomkeep. Okay, we saw that episode already. So go there too. You find that Boris and some other prisoners went back to Joggery Pit to look for something involving some digging. I did that. This time, when you go up to the second room, the dead end is gone and you can go a lot further back. Go through it to room 3. There you see 4 miners digging. One of them is Dale's friend. Okay, I talked to that person. Boris went back to get Scott and some gunpowder. I didn't see anything about that. The guy didn't say that at all. Go back to Doomkeep and go to Scotty's house, upper right corner of Doomkeep. On the table was a white object, go up to it. There was no white object. Okay, so I guess I've missed something. I don't... This is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure I did all of that. Don't be snooping on an area pit you hear, talking to him. We should be hearing something from Johnny real quick. You're about to donut to yourself. Alright, I've talked to all of them. I've talked to the priest. I've talked to... Oh yeah, I did read that. So yeah, he did say that. That swindler Benny don't share nothing from the ruins. Oh, it's not Benny, it's Boris. Okay. I've found a real good vein of gold. I talked to him. I talked to everyone. I have talked to everyone. Alright, I'm just gonna go back to Joggery Pit, I guess. I don't know. This is very... I might be glitched or something. I don't know what's going on. Craig, Wayne Lane Craig Cosmological Argument, London, Macmillan, 1979, debate over. Yep. Yeah, just read Craig and you get all your answers. It's right here, Dale's spy. This is you're friends of Dale's, right? Boris was just here. He said he was going back to get Scott and gunpowder. Wait. I don't remember him saying that last time. Oh, that's so stupid. What'd I do different? Pain in the butt is what this is. This is such a pain in the butt. I got class tomorrow, but I'm really like it's gonna be pretty easy. It's gonna be fun for me because it's logic. Make finitism great again. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is probably gonna sound pretty like prideful or elitist, but like the majority of like, you know what, like I found that most of the articles that I really enjoy the most are articles that they're not hyped up. So like all these articles where people are like, yeah, you need to go read this, and then I go read it, I'm so severely like unimpressed. It's just like I'm not impressed at all. And then I go and find one myself that seems to be on a topic that is not like in the, I don't know, maybe like you could say like sub Ivory Tower realm. I find it like them so much more like impressive. I don't know, like just ones I find randomly most of the time seem to be better than ones that are like hyped up. Ooh, there it is. I know that's how we feel on Ari Schmid. Yeah. I mean, I will say, so like the formalism in a lot of the papers are fine, but then like, but then you get into like the actual content of the papers, and it's just very underwhelming. Hello. Coffee Smug in the house. What's going on, Coffee Smug? You having a good Sunday? Good weekend in general? I tried to increase my mic volume because I noticed in a lot of the YouTubes you guys could barely hear me, or I could barely hear myself. So I increased my mic a little bit. My kid's still asleep, so I'm not talking extremely loud. I'm kind of talking close though, and I increased my mic setting. I can increase a lot more too, but I'm just kind of testing out different volumes. I'll be able to talk a lot louder once I get some soundproofing in this basement. MJ on the chat while Chris playing. Yep. Yeah, nice Sunday. Good. Go left. Go up. Right, up, left. can tell I've been here a few times. The Audible Authority. Yeah. Ooh. Scott, where's the goods, man? What kind of dumb question is that? Start searching. This is the ruins, alright. Who invited you? Go play in a sandbox in exile. Okay. Rumors about channel being dead seem to be greatly exacerbated. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess it just depends. The channel's dead only in the sense of, like, we don't really do much philosophy stuff on it. And since we're both almost dead daily, we don't really have time to do anything. The only thing most of the time, with all we use it for is games. So, I don't know. One day we'll have time. So, there's a treasure chest there, and I want to get it. I think those treasure chests are open. Yeah, we're looking to upload a lot more stuff in summer. I like a lot. I thought the finale would be just a short section where you don't really do anything. Yeah, I know, right? That's what I thought. But it's like a whole chapter, apparently. Anything specific in mind? Yeah, Schmidt is single with no kids, so he has the advantage. Yeah. Contra, Malpass, Linford, Schmid, Palm, and Lance. Yep. Basically. Oh, no, dang it. I need to go back and talk to that professor guy. Who do we know who could read this tome? Linford is the strongest of the paper tigers. Skydive Phil is just on our dartboard. A laser beam bolt. Named Janus used to study such things. Look here, there's a strange jewel inlaid on the sword. Let's see. Hey, I've seen this before. Come to think of it, me too. It's the Seeker Temple of Doomkeep. Okay. The candle stands. Father Jones candle stands. Oh. So I'm going back to Doomkeep, the candle stands. Our boring conclusion, yes, Craig is pretty much right about everything. Okay, I got the sword. I've kind of been warming up to Lance, specifically on the idea how do more realists know that most, if not all, people's more just express propositions? It seems like an empirical issue. So the two things on this is, so it's weird. So like, you know, if there's him and there's Kane, they have very similar views, but I like Lance. And Kane, I don't know if we'd really get along. Kane's a little bit, to me, too flippant about the most important issues in life. It reminds me a lot of people at my old university that, like, they kind of treated reality like a salad bar. You just kind of choose whatever you want. And it's just, I don't know. I don't really like that big kind of attitude. Lance, though, I like. So, and he's actually really similar to a lot of my friends around here. Or that's friends I've had in the past. So, but yeah, so the empirical issue thing, I think that, to me, I take that as half true. It is an empirical issue, but it's also one that's where we justifiably say that people are of a certain position or persuasion without actually having to survey them. We do the same thing for the external world and other minds. We don't need a survey to go around saying, hey, people actually think there's a tree there, or hey, people actually think there are other minds. I think the same thing's true of like moral realism, but we'll get into all of that stuff. So the surveys are nice, but in a lot of the cases unnecessary. Has Pope Billy Craig spoken ex cathedra? Yeah, he uttered any declarative sentence. Yep. Another one of our conclusions is that if we're wrong, that Lance is right. Right. If we're wrong, Lance is. I'm with Lance on that. I have no idea. So okay, let me rephrase it. I do have an idea, right? But at the same time, metaphysically, I do not know what people are talking about in morality if God does not exist. I don't know what you're saying for the most part. I think I would say I understand a little bit more than Lance says he does, but you know, this is why I think Joe Schmidt had such a hard time responding to ask yourself when he was asked, what are these things? Like, what are these obligations? I don't have these concepts. What are these obligations? Because they're not really anything. Like, if you're like kind of this like minimal supposed moral realist, right? They're not really anything. Not anything that exists in any ontological sense. So, coffee, that's a bad view. Most people would be against feces being thrown at their child on a Tuesday. We don't need a system against, yeah. Sugarcane doesn't have any muscle. That's the... Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Can I equip these? I got 2 sword blazes. So I got 778 to... Oh my gosh. Okay. MJ, show these bad boys. Like Sam Shimon. Yeah. It makes sense to me that sometimes moral judgments express propositions, sometimes emotions. Yeah. Yeah, moral judgments. Yeah. So... Sort of. So does it make the same sense when we're talking about the external world or other minds? So if somebody said, hey, there's a tree there. Is it sometimes that they're just expressing sentiments and other times they're expressing propositions? I don't know. I think there's an extremely strong borderline one-to-one correspondence between, say, our claims about morality and claims about the external world. So it's just weird. I don't even know what it means to say that. I just have a sentiment that the tree is there. I don't know. Paul Swinburne, Joshua's, I can never pronounce his name. Craig's philosophical back is a cobra's head. Coffee, that's a ubiquitous feature of language. Yeah, New Age guys try to do physics, yeah. I'm gonna get another Mountain Dew. So I got the sword. So I need to go back to... I'll just run there. I'm gonna go to Fort Wind and I'm gonna sell things that I don't need. I don't need the gem blade or the star or anything. I'm gonna sell a good bit of stuff because I don't need a lot of it, and see if I can buy some more, like some gear, which I can actually. I already have enough. Before I do, let's see. Jade Shield. So if we get the suit, if we get the battle suit, then I can give a gem mail over to someone else. So let's. So I'm selling a gem blade. Equip Ethan. He has a star blade. She has a gem rod. I'll go ahead and sell the star blade. Let's get what other wind robe. Don't need that. Let's do a battle suit and a jade shield, I guess. So let's at least do a battle suit. So equip that to Giles. And gem mail can go to Sonya, I guess. Well, hold on. Yeah, actually, let's give that to Ethan there. So, okay, hold on. So I got the sword. So 2 on that one. 2 on that one. One. He's got the strongest stuff in the game right now, Giles does. Sonya. Got some gem stuff. Yeah, let's get Alright, let's get a Jade Shield again. There we go. Alright, let's sell 2 of the sun pieces. Alright, let's see here. LOL, we're also gonna motivate gastronomic realism with as much zeal as Oppie doesn't give a crap about Hilbert's Hotel. We're gonna be gassy, yep, lots of indigestion. Throw in some olfactory realism for kicks. Sun shield. Sun armor. Alright, actually I can buy another piece of armor, right? So let's do that. Buy. I can buy another Jade Shield. Actually, hold on. Let's sell a sun armor and let's get a battle suit. Okay, that's perfect. So now we'll buy a battle suit. Dang it. So I need an extra torch. I need some torches. Battle suit. Boom. Alright, I am stacked right now. So let's go back to Arcadia. We march to Lost Isle. Whoa. So, a sea and mountains. So, like, is there a way to fly over there? Crap. So, we can go to Cardus and talk to whoever Isaac was his name. I guess the guy that you can use his gliders. I think it's in Cardus. Is it Cardus? I don't. Hey, that dragon's not following me anymore for some reason. Strong wings. Dragon flute. Oh wow. Okay, that was a complete accident. I was also thinking that for appraisal, red of relativism, particular moral judgments could express completely different propositions. Rendering moral disagreement maladroit. Yeah. Yeah. Appraisal. Yeah. I need a torch. Yep. Ooh, I can fly. Oh, cool. Wow. I'm just flying south, I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry that I always ask about DCT, but this has been knacking me. Is it possible that my moral intuitions or my concepts of the good and right don't align with God's nature or commands? Yes, it is. Like, is it possible that God's commands me to do X, but X is morally abhorrent to me? So yes, yeah, you can have, and the opposite. Like, he might not command you, but you think that you ought to do something. It's just, it's gonna be an epistemic problem. What's that? Oh, an Elder Hut. Yeah. Okay, but if my concept of the good doesn't align with God, then that doesn't imply relativism or that God isn't some universal standard of the good. That doesn't imply right. It does not imply relativism, or that God isn't some universal standard of the good. Right? It doesn't imply that either. It just means you could be wrong. Right? Same thing for really, yeah, any realism, which is actually I think what Matt said. Yeah, any realism period kind of thing. Like you could be wrong about it. What seems to be abhorrent? So, oh hey, so Matt's message there was my 100th message today. The chat is booming today. I don't know where I'm going. Seriously, why don't we have 1 million subs? Well, I can tell you why. We're just not consistent enough. If we were consistent, we would have I think we would have a crap ton of subs. But so if we plan things and they were like in order and there were different playlists and we were consistent, I think we could make a lot make a lot of like content and have a lot of subs. But we don't have time, so unfortunately. This is one of the things I was thinking about like a few days ago. You know how people are like, yeah, you know, oh, it's okay. You have plenty of time to do thing X or thing Y or whatever. And I'm just like, now I know that was not true. It's not true. So. The armory is here at your disposal. Why can't I have it then? Well, how do I get it? I can't get in there to get it. How do I get this? You just have to be more annoying. I thought the point of God being synthetically identical to good means God fixes our moral judgments. But if God doesn't fix any moral judgment, then it seems to imply that the view is false. So no, it's not part of the view that God fixes your moral judgments. Like, not that. So there are some He might fix, but some others He might not fix. But it just depends on how strong, maybe how strong He wants you to believe it or something. So it fixes, yeah, what you ought to do, yeah. Since you're free, you can fix them in any way that seems right to you, either immediately or after deliberation. So I mean, there's multiple ways to fulfill your obligations. So that's true. So if God commands you to be a doctor, you can do that in a variety of ways, right? But it might be the case that He actually never commanded you commanded you to be a doctor, and you're doing it anyway. Then it would be like supererogatory. Well, I can't get this treasury. It says, Prince Logus, sir, the armory is here at your disposal. Really? Because I can't get it. It won't let me in. I can't get in there. And I don't know how. Daggone, dude. Okay, but if I don't use God as any moral standard, as my moral standard, then what sense is God is the correct moral standard? So why can't it be the correct standard if you don't use it that way? That sounds more like relativism or something. Like as if you can kind of choose the standard yourself, rather than it just being the standard as like realisms require. So it's not just being like your moral standard; it's being just the moral standard, right? Like he is the standard for he is goodness. Like he literally is the good, right? And so you could have a bad conception of what it means to be the good, or you could be wrong about what you ought to do, right? Right. So there's nothing in divine command theory that requires that you're always right when it comes to your moral deliberations. Yeah. MJ about the opponent. If they cannot step in the problem of evil. Yeah. Like a virtuous being wouldn't act that way. Yeah. I mean, right. I mean, you can have different intuitions, but they're defeasible, right? So you might say, hey, a virtuous being wouldn't act that way, but then you learn more information. You think, okay, well, maybe a virtuous being would be permitted in that circumstance to act that way. So it's a lot about moral deliberation, but that's how it is for any moral realism. Right, so like the questions that you ask can be applied to any sort of moral realism out there. I mean, you think about external world too, so a lot of people don't recognize the external world being made by God or something, but just because they're wrong about that, like just because they don't think it was made by God, doesn't mean it wasn't made by God. Like same kind of thing for being the standard of morality. Why can't I do this? Why can't? Oh well, I don't really need it, I guess. So let's warp to Nigel. I'm gonna rest here. Let's warp to Grimwolf real quick. Then we'll fly south for a second. Dragon Flute. Is that Grimwolf? Did I just go in a complete circle? I'm just kind of randomly flying around now. Alright, let's teleport to Nigel. And then let's go to the final area. Let's go to Lost Isle, wherever that is. I'm just gonna fly north, and then I'm just gonna hope. Option. All right, north. What's that? What is that? Is that it? Oh, that's it. So what do you have to do in this? So I just have to get through this castle apparently and beat the final boss. So yeah, this is why I don't like moral realism. I don't get what realists can point to say that their standard is the correct one. So external world realism is the same way then? So like no form of realism is at all. So for example, can you point to, so the external world anti-realist would just say, hey, can any external world realist point to a standard for the external world? Like, because I can point to them too, right? And I can explain them as, say, just, I don't need to say that there are actually trees out there. All I need to say is that I experience what looks like a tree, right? That's all you need. You don't need to go to the external world. Solipsists say that too, right? So it's a kind of consistency thing across the board, right? So this just seems to me to be saying that realists, you see, I don't get what realists can point to say that their standard is the correct one. I mean, you are like, when it comes to fundamental reality, you have to rely on intuitions. You don't have an option, right? It's appearances, intellective appearances, right? So you have to rely on those, like, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. And usually anti-realists are the ones that say, well, all we need are the appearances. We don't need anything actually lying behind the appearances. And that's where Matt and I would disagree. You need something beyond the appearances. Otherwise, you can't explain the appearances. Because that means there's nothing leaving any impressions on your intellect. Nothing at all. So like the external world anti-realist for trees, for example, would say, well, we can just rely on the appearances of trees. That's all we need. We don't need the actual trees there. Right? Which seems ridiculous, right? Of course you need the trees there. You need something, right, that's given the impression there on your mind. You need something that's appearing to you. Right? If you don't have that, there's no impression. You don't have an impression, you have no appearances. Right? So, same thing for morality. Right? There's something that's leaving an impression on your mind there. Right? And it's discovering exactly what that is the point of metaethical theories. Same thing for external world theories and for non-solipsist theories and like theories of the mind and things. So, except maybe externalists, irreducible moral fact. I'm an internalist, and most philosophers are internalists too. Right? So I'm an internalist. I think that you have to have the appropriate, control condition and epistemic condition fulfilled. So you have to have the appropriate level of access to the moral realm in order to actually be a moral agent and actually have moral obligations. So that's internal. That's a form of internalism. I don't buy externalism either. I think externalism is kind of crazy when you get right down to it. But This is a creepy. This is a creepy castle. All right, I'm gonna save. Here we go. Ready? Everybody ready? Final area. Oh, geez, I'm gonna get my butt kicked. Oh gosh. Okay. Hey, maybe I can train with those things. I don't. Oh god. Oh. Let's see how much these things give me. I am slapping these things hard. Wow, I'm two-shotting. I can two-shot these things. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. Ow. Oh, that doesn't affect the Centurions. I'm not getting how this is analogous to general realism. I'm just wondering why I should use God as my standard, not whether God corresponds to reality. So you're wondering why DCT is true, because that's kind of what divine command theory says, or are you wondering why theistic theories are true? Like, the question is actually a bit more confusing than the answer to me. I mean, I can give you a number of arguments, but I think I've given some of those. So for example, if morality is to be a thing at all, you have to explain its features. So you have the moral data points, right? The data of a moral experience. Then if you're going to actually take morality seriously, you have to explain those data points. And the way you explain those data points is then you offer your meta-ethical theory. And one of, divine command theory is one of them. And when you do that, God turns out to be a better explanation than any other alternative standard, supposed standard. Right? One reason is because only a person can serve as a moral authority, period. Right? Mountains, trees, planets, no inanimate non-person object can be a moral authority above you. Right? So the only way to explain, for example, the moral authority behind obligations is to posit a perfect being, someone who actually can serve as the standard of morality, not just someone who's above you in moral authority, but actually the entire moral enterprise. And you need a qualitatively infinite or perfect being to do that, because otherwise it's morally imperfect and it can't serve as a standard for anything like that. That's one reason, at least. So are you asking for an explanation between different realisms, or are you asking for an explanation between realism and anti-realism, or realism and, say, non-cognitivism? So it depends on where in the dialect you're at. Where am I out here? Am I? Okay, I'm on the first floor. So middle right. So let's go upstairs. Oh boy. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, there's a treasure. Oh god, treasure. Oh, there's so many. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's stairs there. Oh. There's so many of these things. Oh my gosh. Oh god. These things do hit me pretty hard. It's scaring me a little bit. Okay. I'm on the third floor, right? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. There's so many of these things. So that thing doesn't hit them at all. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see something. Equip her with... Oh, I should have kept... Alright, let's do this. Just defend. Okay, interesting. Boom, dead. Oh, there's a treasure chest. I got a potion. All right, I guess that's worth. Oh no. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Okay. Fourth floor. Holy crap. Whew. I guess I'm asking me what since God is objective. Is the objective moral standard that I can use if I can use other standards? Is there some criterion what makes God the objective standard? I mean, it would be how God. So you have to. It's not just that you pick and choose standards, right? So it's a standard is something when we're talking about a grounding for something metaphysically, right? So you're talking about groundings. You don't just pick and choose the grounding of various things, right? There's a grounding there, right? So God as a ground for morality is the best explanation for morality. It explains all the features, whereas something like, say, abstract objects would not. And even abstract objects would be better explained and more parsimonious, right? So you'll take various, say, theoretical virtues, right? So God as the standard for morality would fulfill a lot of theoretical virtues that we have for theory crafting, things like that. So it's like saying that rules of chess are objective. I'll be asking why if I can just use some other set of rules to play chess. So chess is a formally normative system. There's no authority behind it. You don't need an authority for chess, but you do for a robustly normative system. So for morality, morality would be a robustly normative system. And how you go from a formally normative system to a robustly normative system is you have to have an authority to basically push it to that status, right? If you don't have an authority, it remains a formally normative system, right? So if everything's a formally normative system, nothing's robust. It means you can just choose. You can opt in or opt out of whatever you want justifiably, right? We don't typically say people can just opt out of morality, right? That's not how morality works. We don't tend to say that people can opt out of rationality or just opt out of, say, prudence and things like that. So you can be prudent or imprudent. You can be rational or irrational. You can be moral or immoral. Those are robustly normative systems. And so you need an authority to press it past just formally normative systems like chess and video games and things like that. And unless we're going to actually say that morality is more like video games and chess, right? And so that would be like an intuition pump. Is morality closer to the external world, or is it closer to your favorite flavor of ice cream? Is beating kids to death closer to chocolate, or is it closer to a tree being there? You know. So on that side, you'd have to go with sort of intuitions. But yeah, God is the best explanation for morality, right, as a standard, because he exhibits various features that we would expect for morality. Him as an explanation fulfills various theoretical virtues, various reasons like that, right? So that's like kind of a taste as to why. Okay, I gotta go up those stairs, don't I? Okay, they can't come down here, can they? Oh boy. I just went back down to 3. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's an instant kill, isn't it? You know what? I'm just gonna run. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that. Dead. Is that all that makes sense, Coffee? Oh my gosh, I hate this. Oh well. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Okay, that's a dead end down there. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, this is hard. Oh, he just instant killed her. Great. Crap. I'm thinking about this. Interesting. Yeah. It's fun stuff to talk about. Yeah. And so, like Lance, for somebody, for example, oh God, he'd be somebody who would say that. So he's willing. So him and Kane, for example, are willing to pay. And they've said this basically, like an infinite price tag for more realism to be false. In other words, they'd be global skeptics. Now, I've heard this more explicitly from Kane. Like he would just give up truth. He would literally just give up everything. I was like, if your price tag is infinite, right? If you will pay anything for more realism to be false, then maybe it's not such a big deal for you. But that's just wild. I've heard that from people, and it's just it's pretty shocking. But and people also talk about, like, this is what I was saying before, that people tend to focus on the normative facts. They don't really focus on value facts very much. And I think that's because it's uncomfortable. Because you have to say people are objectively worthless. Right? Like if you're an anti-realist. Or you reconceptualize it. One of those two. And I was talking to Matt, like, we've been trying to find a single, like, before the 20th century, we've been trying to find, like, a single anti-realist, like, Christian out there, and I can't really find any. It seems like it's extremely rare, and there's a reason for that. Like Pullman has said things like, "I don't need moral facts." Like, okay, what does that mean? So are we pragmatists about truth? Is that what that means, or does it mean like what exactly does it mean? So do we need scientific facts? Do we need external world facts? Do we need facts about people? Do we need these facts or anything? And what does he mean? Is he reifying facts? Like, it's unclear, right? So until we have more information, it's kind of hard to say. Yeah, I figured he'd die. Oh, I got a warp quill. That was hard. Dude, I don't know where I'm going. Oh gosh. Okay, now we're in the dark. Okay, let's do a seeker eye. I'll take a picture of that. So okay, I'm here. And there's stairs there. Wow. Okay, I'll take a picture. Okay. Let's see what's going on. And I'm going to save that, I'm going to load this back up. Okay, I'm going to use 2 torches. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Whew. Oh boy. Is there something down here? Nothing down there. Whew. Okay, I got to the back room here. Alright, I need to use another seeker thing. Elixir. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, ran into one. They're evading my blows. Can I run? Just run. I don't want to deal with that. was it for that one? Oh gosh. Oh boy. Oh my gosh. I'm just trying to avoid these monsters. Oh boy. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go, 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 go. Oh boy. Oh gosh, he got me. I'm gonna run though. Oh my gosh, there's so many of these. Dead end there. Holy crap, holy crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Wow. Okay, save. A different slot. And use a something. I gotta find a seeker eye here. There's 3 entrances to go in. Okay. Yeah, assuming in those times whenever they happen. I think people should always be treated as ends in themselves. Content seems to be much better experience from Rod. So on Divine Command Theory, that also makes sense. You also treat everybody as ends in themselves, right? But like, if you're gonna be an anti-realist, then you can't. I mean, you can treat them that way, but they aren't that way, right? On moral anti-realism, people aren't ends in themselves at all. Like they don't have value. Value isn't a thing on anti-realism. Okay. So that was unneeded. I didn't do that. So let's load this up. I'm surprised they let you save absolutely anywhere in this game. Alright, let's go A. Oh my gosh, what in the world? There's so much crap. Oh. Okay, save again. I have to take a picture of this. So, where did I come out at? All right. So where am I? Is this where I came from? Oh gosh. Oh, here we go. Mage fruit. That's pretty useful. Crap. There we go. There's one thing guarding it. That was it. So that was one room. Oh, crap. Oh gosh. Crap. Let's look at the image here. So if you go up, So it looks like there's... Alright, I see. Okay, no I don't. Oh, that's a circle. Oh, I see. Okay, now I do. Now I get it. So that's a dead end. That's not anything. So that's it. That's all there is here. I think. Oh, there we go. Alright, so there's room A. Oh no, hold on. Oh, it's the same room. So is that all there was? Oh crap. I didn't know there was a monsters in here. Oh gosh, I keep running into him. Whew. Oh, I ran into him again. Oh my gosh. I did it again. I ruined the stream. But God doesn't treat it as ends in themselves. God doesn't stop, say, rape happening. How does that mean they're not treating? He's not treating them as ends in themselves. I mean, I let things happen, a variety of things happen to people, and I still think they're ends in themselves. There's one thing to like, and even if it were true that like God doesn't treat people that way, right? That it still means they still are that way. That's just, let's rephrase it. As you could say, God doesn't treat people as having value, even though they have value, right? So people have value regardless of how you treat them. Right? I think it's categorically wrong. Right. It's right that it's wrong. Yeah. Clearly, God doesn't agree since He doesn't stop it. Oh, okay. So no. So the way you're using wrong there is not the same as. Okay. So categorically wrong. So by wrong we mean there's an obligation that's violated in doing it, right? Does God violate an obligation to Himself in allowing it? Because especially if we say yes, then that just seems to be like the denial of divine command theory. Right? God doesn't command Himself, right? So He doesn't have obligations, right? Yeah, it's obligatory. See, that's exactly what I'm saying right there. It's obligatory to stop rape for who? Right? For who? For absolutely everyone? No. Some people don't have moral obligations at all. Children don't. A lot of children don't have any obligations. Period. And no moral obligations at all. So it's questionable that any psychopaths or any low-functioning psychopaths have obligations. A lot of people with, say, dementia don't have some obligations that they had when they didn't have dementia, right? So it depends on who you are and what problems you may or may not have. So God does not have any obligations at all, none. Yeah, see, and God doesn't fulfill that obligation because He doesn't have any. He doesn't have any obligations to fulfill. Because on divine command theory, He'd have to command Himself, and He doesn't command Himself. So that's not how things work. And not only that, ethics doesn't apply to God. Like that's another thing. So when we talk about stance independence, right? For example, right? Even Ronald Milo, who coined the term, didn't take it to be referring to divine agents. Ethics is meant to give a guide to life, and infinite agents don't need a guide to life, and so ethics does not apply to infinite agents. Right? It applies to finite agents. Finite agents are the people who need guides to life, right? So, and you might say too, like, well, we shouldn't go around killing people, right? We shouldn't, but God can do that if He wants to. He has the right to, right? He has the right to kill or annihilate anybody He wants. So there's a difference right there. There's a lot of differences in the God and us, right? So, but it seems morally wrong for God not to stop rapists. Why? So let's say that he did. Actually, so two things. First of all, how do we know he doesn't? Because if he did, you would never know that he did because it didn't happen. Right? But there are some he doesn't stop. Right. Okay. So let's say that he did stop one of those and it resulted in a Holocaust later. What would you do? Would you stop it? And then you say, okay, yeah, I'd stop it. Then I'd stop the Holocaust. Well, then you stop both of them and something even worse happens. Would you stop all of them? Would you just keep stopping evil? And then where's the line? Would you just stop all evil? The best way to stop all evil is just to annihilate everyone. You could just kill everyone. There'd be no evil then. So this is just kind of the problem of evil thing again. And the funny thing too is even on Kant's theory, Kant took God to be a necessary postulate for his theory to work. Right? Right? Like for Kant, you had to have God as a necessary theoretical postulate, or morality still didn't make any sense. For him, though, it was for moral transformation. Right? Morality requires the highest standard of us, literally perfection. Right? And we can't do that by ourselves. So we literally need God to be morally to be sufficient, or to actually fulfill the moral demand. And that was Kant's view. Right? So even Kant thinks that God's necessary for morality. Mm-hmm. So you keep saying categorically wrong. So you're using that term or that phrase in a way that meta-ethicists don't tend to use it. So I think that's an idiosyncratic way of using the phrase. Categorically wrong for something to happen is not what we mean when we say wrong. We mean categorically wrong to do. It's categorically wrong for the rapist to rape people. I should say grape, because now the video is going to be friggin' blocked. But it's not. Why would it be from that? It'd be categorically wrong to allow it. I've not heard an argument for that. So it would be so. In other words, so if we're going to go that route, then I could say that about a lot of things that God should have allowed. So it's weird, because if we're going to go with Kant's route, we still need God as a postulate. But if we have God as a postulate, he does wrong things all the time. And so why in the world would we need him as a postulate anymore if he's going to be evil because he allows all these things? Right? This seems like more of a problem of evil type thing than it is like a strict meta-ethics type thing. Whoever God is necessary for the possibility of the highest good, not the moral law. I'm talking about moral law. So you're talking about you're going to the moral law as in obligations. I'm guessing. So the problem is if you have a problem with obligations being from God, then you're going to have a problem with good, the good being explained by God as well, because they're two sides of the same coin. If there's no moral obligations, there's no good, and vice versa. Right? So you kind of have to kind of take them both or reject them both. Right? And so moral law here. So for Kant, if you cannot fulfill the moral demand from the moral law, right? If God doesn't exist. Right? Because it's perfection. It literally is perfection. Right? So the only way you can actually get to a point where you have a character that can fulfill the actual moral law is if God exists at least as a postulate, which, if the problem of evil is correct, then there doesn't seem to be any such perfect being like that. Right? Now maybe you could say, well, there's a less than perfect being that can help us fulfill the moral law or something. You can say that, but so now are we going to start positing finite beings that will help us? It's kind of, how can a finite being help us meet the moral demand when they can't do it themselves? Right? Just kind of weird. I need the tree as a postulate for my external world propositions. Yeah. Yeah, you need to at least postulate that it's there. I think that's probably different than taking it as taking it on pretense that it's there. But do I have my item here? What did I do with my? I still have my seeker eye. Okay. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing. So save. Save. Use this. Seeker Eye. I'm back in this room. Why am I back in this room? Oh my gosh, I gotta get out of here. Here, just temporarily let me use another torch. So I can freaking see what I'm doing. Ah! Ah! Oh, these things are almost catching me. Okay, now I'm out of there. Whew. Oh my gosh. I'm in the labyrinth now? Gosh. Oh my gosh, I've already went through 2 massive areas, so... Alright, now I can save. So, at least by next stream. So next stream we should have this game beat. Elixir, another elixir. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's monsters everywhere. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Help me. Someone help me. Dude, this place is freaking crawling with monsters. Oh, he moved right in front of me. I don't want to fight you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Whew. They're, oh gosh. Yeah, so like for Kant, one of the criticisms I had of him was he seems to just treat obligations more like rational requirements, and that's it. Like as if. So one of the problems here is, so first one problem is the problem of moral authority. So exactly what is the authority behind obligations? I'm still looking for like a non-theistic standard for morality that can serve as an like the ultimate moral authority, right? So it seems rational to me. I don't see why it wouldn't be rational at all, right? If we're just talking about like lowercase r rationality, we're not talking about, you know, sort of the divine command theory or anything. Like, so you go to the Ring of Gyges, right? So why was the shepherd irrational in what he did, right? He seemed to get virtually anything he wanted, and there were no consequences, etc., etc. So, like, how are we going to distinguish, say, morality from rationality and rationality from prudence? Right. So that's one of the big problems in metaethics, right? Is distinguishing those three normative domains, right? And so, what tends to be people tend to do today a lot is to basically kind of reduce morality to rationality, which is extremely dangerous. It's one of the reasons I've kind of stayed a bit away from just calling myself like a Kantian or something. Though I like a lot of what Kant says. I don't like we can't relate morality too closely to rationality, or we risk just reducing morality to rationality or to prudence, and then, you know, at that point I don't see at all what's irrational or imprudent about doing like the most horrendous stuff. Cat. Oh yeah, he just comes over here and meows. But my moral intuition say that God ought to stop rape, yet we know that rape happens. I don't think it makes sense to say that God is the best explanation for at least my moral experience. So yeah, that's a difference in focus on explanation. So I'm not positing God as an explanation for moral experience per se. Right? I'm positing Him as the best explanation for morality. Period. Right? And there are various people who have a variety of moral experiences. Right? Like some people might not even have any moral experience, like psychopaths. Right? So I don't posit God to explain moral experience or the lack thereof. Though you can say, but if you can say datum of moral experience, right? So we have like at least 5 of those, right? So, you know, moral rationality, moral transformation, moral obligation, moral value, things like that. So it's one thing to say that something ought or ought not happen. It's another thing to say that someone ought to do something and someone ought not to do something. When we talk about obligations, right, we're talking about something that is required of a person, right? So you might say, well, God has a moral obligation then to stop all rape. Okay, or grape. Okay, so why does He not have an obligation to stop all evil? So that's the thing. Like that, I don't see the stopping point. Like, why would God not stop all evil then? It seems like no evil should happen if we're going to go that route. And if that's the case, then the problem of evil just goes through. You can just say, hey, well, God actually has an obligation to stop all evil, and He doesn't stop a lot of evil. Therefore, God doesn't exist. Something like that. So, I've never seen that ever successfully argued. I think it'd be really hard to argue that. So that, another reason I tend to formulate obligations like most meta-ethicists do is something that's required of finite persons specifically and not divine agents. So. I don't want to go right. Where am I going? This place is freaking huge. Hey. Is this 2R? Oh my gosh. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. Great. See? Gosh, I hate that. Yeah, I'm not fighting them. Let's see, let me just heal. Best intuition pump, yeah. Right, so teleological and value laden. Right. So teleological, which means it's focused toward the highest goal. Well, so what is the highest goal, and who outlines the highest goal? Right, and it's funny, like morality has a purpose to it, so it is aimed at a goal, right? And so divine command theory actually says the same thing about it being teleological. It is. It's focused toward the highest goal. God commands us to do things for reasons. Right, ultimately, to be morally perfect and in perfect relationship with Him forever. Right? Right. And it's value laden. Right. God has opted to stop all evil. Oh, wow. So I've never heard anyone say that or give an argument for that. God has obligation to stop all evil. So there is no God then, right? So it's just atheism. Because he doesn't, right? He doesn't. And if he doesn't, then he's immoral, which means he's not perfect, and there is no perfect being, so bye-bye God. Yeah, no evil should happen, that evil happens. Yeah, okay. I've never seen intuitions like that before, but you can argue that. I've never seen an argument for it, though. Yeah. Yeah, good luck with an argument on that one. Because then, so Kant's original theory, though, you would have to say is contradictory. Right. So not more like, say, it'd have to be like a neo-Kantian theory, because Kant would not have agreed with that, obviously. Secret orb. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I have to go, I am more of a quiet. The other thing is, yeah, I don't see how, the other thing is, yeah, I don't see how, even what it is. I don't even know what morality is anymore. You take an authority out of the picture. And it's actually one of my arguments, like argument for more authority, right? If you remember hearing about that, right? That moral realism requires a moral. And you said before you had a problem with moral realism. Are you saying you're an anti-realist? Because that'd be weird for even a neo-Kantian to say. I think most Kantians argue with me that God is necessary only for the possibility of the highest good, not for the moral law. See, that's the thing, though. So John Hare, for example, points out, like, at least for many Kantians, I'd have to look back on exactly where Kant would say this, or if he did say this, but the moral demand just is perfection, right? So it's to actually become a morally perfect person, which you can't do, and that is literally why Kant posited God as a necessary theoretical postulate. At least that's what Hare would say. All right, so you can argue that he's wrong about that, and that's fine. I don't have any skin in that debate. but on atheism for specifically, no idea what morality is. No idea. This is why I actually even argue that if you believe in morality at all, you actually are religious. I take morality to be like inherently religious, which I think it's funny. It gets on people's nerves. And the reason is because the whatever the foundation is behind morality seems to be divine in origin. But yeah. Coffee smoking believer yet? No. Stream lagging. Normative realists? Why? So that's my question. So here's a fun thing. So if I were an atheist, I would not be I would be like Lance. I wouldn't be a normative realist at all. Like, I don't see any reason for it. Why would we have it? He's still in boss around by abstract properties, yeah. Necessary moral postulate, but not for the moral law. But it's fine if we disagree. A necessary moral postulate. So I don't know what that means anymore if it's not for the moral law. But regardless, yeah. So like that's the same thing with this. This is why I say that Joe Schmidt was having problems explaining to, like, ask yourself about what moral obligations are. I don't know what those are. If God doesn't exist. Something about reality requiring us to do certain things and not others. I don't know. It's something. It seems like pure magic. I have no idea what anybody's talking about anymore. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to have to call the stream here. We're at the last boss area. We're right there. But yeah. Anyway, I will talk to everybody next Sunday, possibly Wednesday. We'll see. I don't know. I need to get back to 2 days a week or something. But anyway, I will talk to everybody next Sunday at least. Anyway, take it easy.